I am joined by Robert Griffin III, James White, Field Yates Meanekeims.
All right, so first play we're going to look at 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick and Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another live edition of the Patriots Daily Podcast, the first live we've done in a while, Taylor. And at least in my head, I have tonight thought up kind of like one of those day 3 draft shows where we're just kind of hanging out. That's why I called it the draft party. We're doing this thing. We're reacting to what the NFL has made yet another tentpole event on their calendar, which is the NFL schedule, which is why we shuffled Patriots Daily around a little bit as well and made it a night show because the NFL schedule comes out at 8 p.m. tonight. So that's what we're powered by here on this edition of the Patriots Daily Podcast. Before we get in, and again, this is like the social media team's Super Bowl, right? In the NFL right now, where the Chargers kind of, I feel like they started it a couple years ago, but now every team has just made revealing their schedule into an absolute spectacle. If you remember, the Patriots had the retirement house a couple years ago. Last year was the Goodwill Hunting skit with the current Patriots, and Jules obviously came back as well and did the "You Got Them Apples" thing with Evan. So that was fun. So we'll see what the Patriots have in store. They've done a little schedule reveal leaking type things on social today. They had like some balloon flying all over the place.
I'm looking at that literally right now. I thought it was a drone.
And that reminded me of like a Breaking Bad skit. I know we do like, not skit, but like a Breaking Bad open where remember the pink bear in the pool? That whole season where it was just like
on the roof and all that.
Yeah, it's like there's just this one thing and it has to do with something, but we don't know what it has to do with just yet. So that's what it reminded me of. So that, again, this is schedule night. So Taylor, we'll get into it. We'll do some we're gonna rank the home and away opponents. We'll look at the home and away opponents, rank them from strongest to weakest. But before we do, I'm curious on your thoughts on schedule day and what the schedule really means, because as I said, the NFL has obviously the Super Bowl to start the season, or they have the playoffs, Super Bowl, combine, free agency, draft, and now they've turned the schedule into like that next thing. And then it's obviously the training camp and then the season. But like the NFL owns the calendar. You've seen it with some of these, even where they, where they have games where it's Christmas and it's Thanksgiving. But do you think it really matters? Like at the end of the day, is it just for show, or do you think that knowing where you're going to play and when, first of all, should be this important, but B, could actually have an impact on what your overall record ends up being at the end of the year?
I think like anything, the NFL is a business that's very good at hyping things to the max. So I'm not going to, necessarily say the schedule is something that, how do I say it? You know what? No, I'm just going to talk about why the schedule matters, because it does. Now, it's not necessarily the event they make it out to be, but it is important because it's not just the opponents you play. I think when you play them is significant because, if a team has players that are injury prone and maybe you think they might start breaking down later in the year, or it's a team that really catches fire early on historically and then maybe kind of starts to fall off. A team may have a guy that's suspended where it's a key player that's not going to be around, or, if it was like a 49er situation where Brandon Ayuk's probably not going to be around for the beginning of the year. So it just completely changes the perspective on how you think the game is going to go. Or you could talk about if a team is just opening with a complete gauntlet. Like if you're playing the Chiefs and you're playing the Ravens in 2 of your first 3 weeks, you're probably not going to be having a very good time in September, So it does matter because you don't want that early block to just be like hard game after hard game, because just like the Patriots used to do when they were in their heyday, you really start getting better once you understand your identity. And a lot of that doesn't come until around Thanksgiving, because you've said, okay, in September, we tried what worked. We saw what didn't work. Now in October, we're really trying to lean in on the things that we do well. And then by November, that should be kind of crystallized. And then you're really just kind of getting rid of everything that you're not going to do well and really focusing on doing the things that you excel at and then improving. So it can, like, even the Bengals, we could talk about, that's a perfect example where week one, you beat them. It's not exactly convincingly, but it's a good win. And then you kind of flip the schedule by the end of the year and they're in completely different places. So the schedule and where these games line up absolutely matters. And the NFL does a great job promoting it and turning it into more of a spectacle spectacle than any other league. So, good on them. Good on them.
Yeah, and I think here's a look at the Patriots' opponents this season. If you haven't already seen it, if you don't already have it in the back of your minds, no international games for the Patriots. The NFL's international game schedule has already been released. Patriots will not be going overseas. So all of those home games are truly home games, which is noteworthy as well. 9 home games for the Patriots in 2025-26, which I can't even believe the next year's 2026. That just makes me feel very old and feel like we're in the future, but I digress. 9 home games, 8 away games. And it's the Bills, it's the Browns, it's the Dolphins, it's Atlanta, New York, both New York teams, Carolina, the Steelers, and the Vegas Raiders coming to town. And then they're away at Cincinnati, at Buffalo, obviously the Jets and Dolphins, at Tampa, at New Orleans, at Baltimore, and at Tennessee. So we'll look at those and we'll rank them out here from strongest to weakest opponents, home and away, in just a second. But the one thing I will say on the schedule release itself, it's like, the spectacle of it, frankly, is a little obnoxious, but as a football fan, you have to just lean into it and dive into it because there's nothing else really going on right now. We get like photos of rookie minicamp and photos of OTAs, and it's like, oh, the big thing on Patriots Twitter yesterday was like Will Campbell and Wes Schweitzer are playing on the same side of the line. It's like
it's like when you're in the season and you look back at this time, it feels so ridiculous. But we're taking the breadcrumbs.
Right, exactly. So I mean, but that's what you have to do. I'm not necessarily knocking us for it. That's just the kind of news cycle for Patriots and NFL we're in, and you got to take it where it comes. So we'll use that and we'll kind of turn it into our own spectacle here. And we'll have a little fun over these next 15 minutes until the schedule comes out. We'll look at each opponent, home and away, and then look at the entire thing, how it lines up. And then we'll do our quick win-loss. And then we'll get out of here once that comes out. But, that's the other thing I want to say on the schedule too, is that the spectacle of it is obnoxious, but knowing, for example, if you're going on the road or you have 2 West Coast games in a row and where you can stay out there and having tougher opponents up top and, the worse ones or easier ones down the road. Or if it's Miami, for example, where the Patriots have stunk up, at Miami late in the season because of the change of weather, or vice versa, where does Miami have to come up here in September when it's still 85 degrees and it doesn't matter for them, and vice versa. So that there are little things like that, especially Patriots centric, that you can glean a little bit. So, we'll see what happens at 8 o'clock. There's been a lot of leaks across social media within the last really 48 hours. Approved leaks, like the ones that come out from the Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, which we know. But there's been some other ones that have been incorrect in the past. So we'll wait on those until they all come out. I feel like that's only right.
There's one that I think. Oh, do you want? I was wondering. Do you want to the one that Schultz reported and then Monday Night Football game? Do we want to talk about that or do we want to wait?
Yeah. So week 1, Raiders are coming to New England. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll coming to take on the Patriots in Foxborough. So the Patriots will open the season at Gillette. And then Monday Night Football, or is it? Yeah, Monday Night Football is week 13 at home. The Giants are coming here as well, correct? Do I have that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So those are the 2 correct ones, or the ones that we know for a fact. It's the Raiders in week 1 and the Giants on Monday Night Football coming here, which interesting. I don't know if that's in the flex zone, but the Giants at the Patriots on Monday Night Football, you wonder if that stays or kind of what that game looks like. But what are your thoughts, I guess, on
another good example of why the timing matters? Because we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. Could be Russell Wilson. By that point in the season, you're probably hoping that Jackson Dart has shown them enough that he ends up taking the reins. And there you think about it completely differently. With Russell Wilson, I may lean honest. That's tough. I don't even know how it affects it necessarily. But with Dart, there's the athleticism and the explosiveness upside. But then with Russ, he's done it before. Almost beat the Patriots a couple years ago when their defense had a really good game when they were in Denver. So again, just that Giants game, like the quarterback situation isn't settled. So when you're at the last quarter mark of the season, you could have a completely different quarterback and offensive situation by that point.
For sure. Actually, before we get into our rankings here quickly, I'm curious on this and your thoughts on this, Taylor, because the NFL draft and the NBA, like the NBA lottery has become a big topic of discussion lately, given that
What happened in the NBA lottery? Can you, because I don't care.
Yeah.
I usually don't care. I know that people were talking about it, but I kind of tuned it out.
So the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic earlier this year. You knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? They traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers, playing with LeBron, etc.
Right? It was like it was a ridiculous move. Yeah.
Yes, it was a bad deal. They got swindled, and everyone hates the Mavs GM Nico Harrison now. He's become a laughingstock in the league because he basically took a really bad deal to send Luka out there, and everyone thought it was rigged and blah 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 blah. Then the NBA draft lottery happens, and Dallas has a 1.8 chance to land the number 1 pick, but they ended up getting it. So everyone's like, "Oh, NBA rigged," because the NBA's. I don't want to say they've done this in the past, but there's been a lot of circumstances where the NBA lottery just so happens to benefit like a team that could really use it. So like the year LeBron came out in 2004, Cleveland got the number 1 pick, and he's from Cleveland, Ohio, or he's from Akron. So that was like, it felt like a homecoming thing. Chicago Bulls got Derrick Rose with the number 1 pick when they didn't have the best chances. He's from Chicago. A couple other ones. I know that
it feels like they kind of just put their hand in the pot every once in a while for a good story.
Exactly. It's like they kind of rig it out. There's a couple other examples. If you can think of them in the chat, let me know to kind of add that context to it. Patrick Ewing, our friend Bailey, who is producing this show tonight for us. Shout out Bailey. Patrick Ewing went to the New York Knicks in the 20. I don't even know what year that was. 20th century, 19th century. I don't know.
You can say Patrick Ewing. I don't think that was 2000 anything.
No, it was the 19th. It was. I don't want to even say the 80s. I don't know what year Patrick Ewing was, but he ended up going to the Knicks.
Guess 83. I'm going to randomly guess 83, and I'm going to look it
up. Okay, I like it. I know like Anthony Davis. No, it wasn't David. Oh, the year LeBron left Cleveland. It was 80s. It was 85. Thanks, Bailey. The year LeBron.
I was so close.
Yeah, LeBron left the Heat. So LeBron was in Cleveland. He left to go to Miami. Then he came back to Cleveland, and Cleveland got the number 1 pick the following year to basically help them out. So they ended up drafting Andrew Wiggins, and they traded him for somebody else. But so long story short, there's been a bunch of skepticism about this current NBA draft lottery because Dallas got the number 1 pick. Everyone's like, oh, they traded Luka and they were told that they'd get the number 1 pick in return. That's why they did it for pennies on the dollar. That's turned into this conversation about should the NFL draft have a lottery? So what's your take on that? What do you make of it? Do you think it should just be the way it is, or would you be interested in a lottery as well?
Because
I kind of like it. Like I think it just kind of adds another layer. It just it is straight. First of all, of course I do is the right answer. But second of all, it just adds another layer to it. It would give the NFL another day on the calendar as well. You'd have the draft lottery, then you'd have the draft. But I don't think teams are tanking in the NFL like they are in the NBA. So I don't think there's really a need for it. But sorry, I'll give the floor back to you.
No, I just think for a league that sells itself on parity, and then I think does a much better job than most leagues at actually maintaining it, you would not be able to justify, the Chiefs looking into like a Brian Thomas Jr. Like that. The NFL is the kind of structure where every once in a while you do get these teams where like through any odds, if you have the quarterback and head coach, you're going to win most games. Obviously, you need the infrastructure around them as well. But typically when you have those two in place, the rest of it usually, fills itself out, at least over time. So, no, I don't think it would make any sense for the league to NBA to, or I'm sorry, the NFL go to a lottery system. Also, I know that one of the points that you made was how, like, some teams in the NFL tanked. And the Patriots showed last year that you cannot tank NFL games. Now, ownership and leadership can absolutely put the team in positions that give them a worse chance to win. Like the Patriots benching Drake May, and both the Patriots and the Bills taking out their starters for the most part because neither one of them wanted to win that game because they wanted better draft positioning. Or at least the Bills didn't want to give the Patriots the first overall pick. And you go out there, and football is a violent sport. Like in the NBA, you can half-ass it and not get yourself hurt. Right? You're basically just like standing and jogging around. In the NFL, if you jog around or you're not going at least, like obviously a receiver can go out there and like not do anything. Most positions, it is almost impossible for you not to try because you will get very much hurt. And also coaches are fighting for their jobs. Are there any leagues you think that have as little job security as NFL coaches have? Oh, okay.
No, I mean, so honestly,
you went
you
out
got me
for a
now?
second.
Oh,
You're good.
I'm good. This year, the NBA got kind of weird with it. Like they started firing coaches left and right. But in general, no, I think that they get some more leeway, especially in a league that kind of can incentivize tanking. It's like, okay, we're not going to fire you after this year where we obviously just kind of shit the bed. So,
Yeah,
no, I
so
would
from
say
a
the
health
NFL is the worst.
perspective, from a job security perspective, and then even if you're an NFL player, not only do you not want to, preserve your own health, you also, if you're like the Patriots, again, if you're on a team that you're not going to be on the next year, you don't care about their draft pick. You're trying to get yourself another contract. So, no, I don't think that a lottery system would make sense for the NFL because it's not like the NBA, obviously, where you can have super teams so easily, but also like you've got the salary cap. There's so many things that are put into place to prevent like the randomness that could kind of screw up the league being more competitive. So yeah, I just don't. I haven't thought a ton about this, so I'm sorry if my argument isn't very good. But I just don't see how it would benefit the league. It's already the draft already gets more views than like other playoff games in other leagues. So like no,
Right.
if it ain't broke, go fix it. I don't see why you would make such a significant gamble and screw with the system that's been in place for so like I'm not a traditionalist or anything like that, but like make it a good idea. Like there's nothing wrong with the NFL draft. You can call it boring if you want. They make money off of it, and that's all that matters. So, I think the draft or a lottery would lead to better storylines, maybe because of the randomness and the chaos. But the NFL is fine the way it is. I don't think they need a gimmick like that.
I ultimately agree. Like, I don't think they need it. Where the NBA needed it because teams were actively tanking, so they needed to be like, well, it's not a guarantee you get the number one pick if you come in last. There's obviously the odds that do it, but the NFL, I don't think there's a tanking problem by any means. Greeny's argument was there were teams with a bunch of 4, 5, and 6 wins. It's like that's just how the cookie crumbled last year. I didn't think the teams were actively trying to lose. Some teams just weren't as good as others. And that's what the draft is for. You get that higher pick, you rebuild yourself, etc. So I don't think they need it. I think it would add another layer of excitement, obviously, if the top 4 or 5 teams had different odds and could kind of do it that way. But it's not something that's necessary. I ultimately agree with you. But current events, it was in the chat. I figured we'd throw that around before we get to the schedule read.
And again, I'm sorry or like we're hypocritical in any way. I feel like I might have stepped on my own tail a few times. I just don't like the idea, and I think it's so unnecessary.
It's all good. All right, let's do our strongest to weakness here quickly before the schedule actually comes out over the next 5 minutes. So what we're going to do is, I don't know why. There we go. I got you. Are we on screen?
Yep.
Okay, we're on screen. All right, Taylor, talk me through these. So again, the home opponents, for those of you who missed it earlier, Buffalo, Cleveland, Miami, Atlanta, New York, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Vegas, all coming to Foxborough this year. We're going to go from strongest opponent to weakest opponent, and we're each going to give our rankings on why we think that that is the order in which they are. Taylor, what do you got?
Yeah, and there's not like a crazy scientific method here. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of disagreement, but basically the way I see it is quarterback is the first most important difference maker because he's actually on the field and obviously has so much command. Second is head coach, and then third is supporting cast. So if you have a very bad offensive line, that's going to hurt. If you have a very good defense, that's going to help. So kind of taking the summation of everything around those two factors, but obviously the head coach and quarterback are what are going to win you a lot of games and the matchups that are going to make the difference. So number one, I have for the home, I have the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, it speaks for itself. Now, I will say, I look at the Bills' depth chart and it doesn't impress me. It doesn't. It's kind of like last year where I think the defensive line is like good. They made some additions, but they're old guys. I feel like a lot of their defense is guys who are older and get hurt. And then offensively, honestly, their offensive line is nasty and it scares me. And that's why I really like what the Patriots have done up front. That offense is good enough, obviously, with Josh Allen to carry them, even if I don't think their defense is all that great. So they're absolutely number one for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm kind of doing this on the fly, as we know. And their schedule is very easy.
Yeah, man.
They don't have a tough schedule. This win-loss thing we do in the next couple minutes is going to be very optimistic on my end because even trying to rank these out, like it's clearly Buffalo, and I'm looking at the next one and number 2, I'm like, it's getting hard to kind of think of another one. So you tell me your number 2, and I'll basically see if I disagree.
This might be controversial, but I think it's the Raiders. I think the Raiders are the second toughest. I got people were saying the Raiders are a tough team. It's like, yes, they are. One, you've got Pete Carroll at head coach. fantastic coach, and you've got Geno Smith, a guy he's already worked with. Like, you've already got the makings of a team that should be taken much more seriously than it has with the carousel of head coaches and the carousel of quarterbacks. Not only that, but you also have Ashton Genty, obviously. They've got a good offensive line. You got Jacoby Myers and Jack Besh. A little bit redundant, but still competitive guys. They're going to move the chains. And then Trey Tucker, I think, is a good enough deep threat that I'm thinking, okay, that's, a decent mix of skills. And they've got Max Crosby on the other side. If Christian Wilkins is healthy, obviously that's a big difference maker. But for me, I just think structurally, yes, this is Pete Carroll and Geno Smith in a different environment, but I just think they elevate the floor of that team. Tom Brady, obviously being the ownership, can't do anything on the field, but I do think that makes a little bit of a difference in just how the organization is going to be run and maybe some of the things that they actually tolerate within the building. So, and obviously Pete Carroll just brings a lot himself. So, I mean, just the success that Carroll's had, how much respect I have for Geno. People act like he's washed. I think he's still a guy who's capable of playing at a very high level. Even last year, you can say all you want about how bad the Patriots were. He carved them up, and it wasn't like he stumbled into 300 yards. Obviously, there was the blown coverage that did a lot of that work for him, but he also made some fantastic reads and throws. So, yeah, man, it's tough for me to say anybody kind of worries me more than this Vegas team in terms of structure and quarterback play.
So I'm with you as far as the Vegas being a tough opponent. I'm going to put them third on my list because I still respect Miami as far as coach, quarterback, what they have. And look, I'm not a huge Tua guy, but I think when you look at the rest of their home opponents, frankly, I just don't see any team that's much better than them other than Buffalo. They made the playoffs the last couple of years. If Tua's healthy, he's a good football player. He's never lost to the New England Patriots. I don't know what Tyreek Hill's situation is, whether it's legal, whether it's he wants to be traded. But when he's on the field, him, Jalen Waddle, they're an elite offense. There's no denying that. Still think the Patriots could struggle against them. So I'm going to put Miami at 2. But I think everything you said about Vegas is totally correct. And I think
I didn't even bring up Brock Bowers, by the way. Just real quick. I didn't even mention Brock Bowers. I forgot about him somehow.
Right. So yeah, no, I think Miami's number 2, but Vegas is definitely third. I think with what they've brought in Geno and Pete, could do some damage here. So
you want to just go rapid fire? Just wait 2 minutes.
I was gonna say, in the interest of time, give me the rest of yours and then I'll do the rest of mine.
So for home, after the Raiders, I've got the Dolphins. The Tua situation being up in the air. James Daniels is a very good guard. He might not be healthy. There's just a lot of unknowns for them. And with Tyreek, there's just a lot, but obviously still a good team. Then I've got the Browns, Kevin Stefanski, Joe Flacco. I just think that he's probably going to end up being the starter if it's earlier in the season. And he's got the experience in the arm talent still that I do think they're a threat. Then I've got the Steelers, mostly just because right now their quarterback situation is a total unknown. If it's Rodgers, I'm probably flipping them in the Browns. Then I've got the Falcons. I've got the
same wavelength. Every time you say it, I'm just copy and pasting. Like, I'm looking at my rankings and I'm like, oh, if you say it, I'm the same way. So I'm also Browns, Steelers, Falcons, Panthers. Yep, yeah, we're on the same page. Go ahead.
Yep, and then Jets and Giants. I've got.
Okay, so I have Giants, Jets, but that's only because I still respect Brian Daboll too much as a.
I've got Jets and Giants.
Sorry,
you're good. Don't be smirched.
Okay, there we go. So those are our rankings. I'm with you. I put the Giants just a hair above the Jets. The Jets are so much like a mystery right now, and the Giants at least have a head coach who I don't know if he's that good, but I've seen him coach before, so that's why I have them at. All right, give me your away opponents rapid fire.
Yep. So I've got the Dolphins because that's a house of horrors. I don't care who else is on that schedule. Miami scares the shit out of me every single year. So the Dolphins are first. Then I've got the Bills, the Ravens, the Buccaneers, the Bengals, the Saints, the Titans, and at the bottom, I've got the Jets.
Bills, Ravens, Buccaneers, Saints,
Bengals, Saints, Titans, Jets.
Bengals, Saints. Okay.
Oh. And there it is.
Schedule. It's 8 p.m. Okay, Saints, and then who? Jets, Titans, or Titans, Jets?
Titans, Jets. Titans, Jets.
Titans, Jets. Okay, I'm gonna completely off the cuff rank these out, and I'm gonna go with the Bills first because they're still nasty. I'm gonna go with the Bengals because they scare me. Baltimore's tough on the road. Miami is still a house of horrors. I totally agree with you. Tampa, I love. I'm surprised you have them higher than me because I'm a Baker Mayfield stan. And then Tennessee, Saints, and where'd it go? Did I just delete everything or did I go all the way to the bottom? And Jets.
All right. Now we got the schedule.
All right. Now what do we have for a Patriots schedule here, folks? Should I flip to it?
Patriots. Do you have the picture?
No, not yet, actually.
I can pull it up. Of course, my computer's slowing down now. Let's see.
Hold on. I might be able to.
Yo,
You
got it?
I got it.
No, I got it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I do have it. Image file, Patriots schedule. There she is. Okay. Raiders at home. Miami on the road. Steelers at home. Panthers at home. Bills.
So they're home a lot in the first month, and the only time they're away is they get Miami out of the way. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Bills on Sunday Night Football, I believe, 8:20 p.m. Then we have the Saints at. Wow, they do have a lot of. Oh no, that's on the road. Excuse me. That's at. Ooh, okay. At Buffalo.
And then the next month, it's like, yeah, you're gonna be away for a minute.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to fill it out on our end so we can look at it as well. So Titans on the road at. So they have those three road games in a row is interesting.
Yeah.
Then they come home at versus the Cleveland Browns.
Falcons the day before my birthday.
Falcons, Bucks on the road, Jets, which is a Thursday night football game against the Jets. Okay, at Cincy. So they got a good little home stretch where they go Giants, bye, Bills, and then at Baltimore at 1 p.m.
And honestly, that bye is late, but it comes at a very good time.
It does.
Because that's going to be two of their toughest games of the year. And they're going to be on the road back-to-back weeks.
Interesting. So a late bye. Yeah, you're right, though. They get to stay home, rest up. They do play Buffalo, which is tough, but then they do go on the road at Ravens, at Jets, doesn't scare me, and then Dolphins at the end of the season at home doesn't necessarily scare me either. Do we have any?
This is also the first time in a while that I can remember them going on the road in the division twice in the first half. Yeah. Usually Miami and Buffalo are late. The past few years, I feel like Miami and Buffalo have been mid to late in the season.
Yeah.
Like I think Miami 2 years ago was late October. Anyway, because it was like around Halloween, I remember. Because
that was when Bourne tore his ACL.
Yeah, exactly. So first month of the schedule. I think this is very winnable. I wouldn't be surprised if this is why the timing matters. With you having been in the heat all summer, I think that Miami actually being there is much more winnable. Because I think when they've been in Miami earlier in the year and they've lost, a lot of it has just been them kind of throwing up in their own lap.
Yeah, right.
This is the team that we're expecting it to be. And obviously, they're still going to have growing pains to work out. Like, this is not going to be a team that's fresh out the box. But I still think they're going to be in a position to be more competitive against Miami than they would if this was as jarring as you going into 90 plus degree weather, whatever it is, or 80, whatever, and you've been in the cold for a while. So home for the Raiders, Dolphins, then Steelers, Panthers, very winnable games. Then you get something tough a little bit with the primetime game with the Bills. That'll be, I think, a nice test, though. That'll be their first real serious test, and it's primetime. So we'll have a decent idea of where they're standing after the first month of the year. Then Saints, Titans back-to-back on the road in the South. That's going to be very interesting. Do you think it's not the West Coast? Nah, they're going to come back. I don't think they stay down there. I was wondering if they would maybe do one of those trips that they do, where they'll stay
when they go at Saint. Them being so close, it's relatively same time zone. I don't know where it actually flips, but it's not like they're going all the way out west. Like the, wow, that's pretty cool. Mac Wilson wrote a song called 18 Bars for the Arizona Cardinals schedule release.
That is very cool. Oh, yeah, I just saw that. That's very cool. All right, so Patriots,
The Patriots release was Dave Portnoy doing an emergency press conference for them, talking for 6 minutes straight. Though I like the connection to Boston, it's not creative. I'm sorry. It's not creative.
Also,
it's just.
I don't give a fuck about that man.
I just think it's
stupid.
weird they did it that way because it can be so much more creative.
Jesus.
Anyway, let's do our predictions. Let's do win-loss. This is the fun part.
All right.
Or we'll go back and forth. We did this last year. We referred to this actually a couple times throughout the season. So this is actually oh, you know what? Actually, Taylor, too, is funny. I was rewatching our show from last year to give us a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
After I got laid off at EEI, which was like 3 weeks ago, or a year ago, 3 weeks ago, if you're catching my drift. I was getting back in the swing with CLNS and you guys, but you were hosting, like you were the one chair kind of doing everything, and I was just the co-host. The schedule release party last year was the first time that I got back in the hosting chair for Patriots Daily. So it's officially a full year of me driving the bus here on Patriots Daily. Not to say that it's not
much better. I like it much better.
It's fun. It's the old. I don't want to call us Felger and Maz the one chair, two chair, but it's you catch the drift. It's much better this way. I think that it all works out. You get the analysis going. I get to just chomp my stupid mouth for an hour and kind of do our thing. So with that note, let's predict the schedule. Honestly, Taylor, I'll go first, and I'll go optimistic right off the bat and say that this team gets a win in week 1. There's a lot of momentum around this team right now. It's 2 new head coaches, 2 experienced head coaches facing off against each other. A young quarterback in Drake May versus an experienced one in Geno Smith, obviously. But I think the Patriots can get this done week 1. I think they start off with a win, fly high to start the Mike Vrabel era.
Yeah, I do too. I still do think that they've got the pieces Vegas does to make this a competitive game again. So just going through their roster real quick, like it's not like this is a walk in the park. Like skill position, you're talking about Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, and Jack Besh and Jacoby Myers. Like, no, they're not huge difference makers, but Bowers and Ashton Genty alone are 2 guys that you have to focus on or they will kill you. And then you've got some complementary guys as well. Now, defensively, the Raiders don't really scare me. That's why I do think this is going to be a win. I think there are going to be some holes for them to exploit. But, I mean, again, I don't think this is going to be a comfy win. I do think it's going to be maybe not exactly like the game last year. Hopefully, it's a lot less sloppy. But I think we could see a similarly competitive kind of matchup.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's, like you said, it's not going to be a walk in the park by any means. But I do think that they can get this one done. Now, going on the road at Miami. Miami plays well early in the year. Tua is going to be still healthy. You hope and pray. It's not like the second half of the season. Tua Tagovailoa, it's week 2 in Miami, hot as hell, in their element. I do think that they lose this game and they start the season 1-1. Are you more optimistic than I am at this point?
This is the only time, like this is literally the circumstance where I would be comfortable predicting a win if I was going to get bold. I'm going to get bold and say the Patriots win in Miami for the first time since 2016.
Okay.
When's the last time the Patriots?
It's been a while. I know that because Tua's never lost to the Patriots. I know that.
Right. So let's see. Last time the Patriots won in Miami was it's 2019, 43-0. Who was the quarterback?
Oh, that's the Antonio Brown game.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So, that's way too long.
Yeah.
I think they snap the streak because again, it's early. I think now that's a time where they'll both have decent chances because no one's really at their peak yet. And again, I think earlier in the year it's going to be less jarring to be in that Miami Heat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I agree it's going to be less jarring, though I do think they do ultimately take the loss. There's going to be bumps in the road in this team, especially early on. I know that the beginning is easier, and I might even be contradicting myself by saying these bumps are going to be on the road because I do think whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Mason Rudolph, whether it's Will, who the heck did they draft? The kid from what's his name? It's not Will Rogers. It's Will Howard. Will Howard. I do think that they win against the Steelers at home. Pittsburgh just seems like a team in no man's land right now. I know Mike Tomlin generally has them ready, but they don't have a quarterback yet. And even if it is Aaron Rodgers, he won't have a full offseason under his belt with this team. So they're going to hit bumps in the road early on. I think the Patriots get it done back at home. Start the season 2-0 at home and 2-1 to begin the season.
I agree. I think they win because you look at the offense, like you should not be losing to Mason Rudolph again or Will Howard. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. We saw what Gonzo could do against DK Metcalf once he got a better feel for him. And then you got Robert Woods and Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. Yeah, I'm not really moved by that. Running back, Caleb Johnson's a beast. Jalen Warren they're very good players. But I mean, I think if the Patriots have decent run defense, the Steelers shouldn't be able to go anywhere for most of this game. Hopefully they can build some kind of lead and be less one-dimensional. Defensively, the Steelers, they are old. That's the thing. Like, you got Darius Slay, you got Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, like a lot of Deshaun Elliott, a lot of older guys, but they're not bad. So earlier in the year, maybe these guys are still healthy and it's more competitive, but yeah, I don't see how they lose this game unless they just, do not show up to play.
So Taylor's got 3-0. I've got 2-1, and I've gone back and forth in my head about this Carolina team. Bryce Young obviously got benched early on last year, but then once he came back and they gave him the reins, he played some pretty good football down the stretch. Now they still went on like a 4-game losing streak in the middle of the year. I think they ended the season 2-1. Bryce Young played pretty good football. I'm yawning because it's past our 3 o'clock window here usually. Seriously, but Carolina got their run game going a little bit, late in the year too with Chuba Hubbard. So I can't decide here. I think
I don't see like who beats you on this team. Derek Brown, obviously, but like, who scares you? Trayvon Morgan's a good player.
But even you even look at their wide receiver group is like young, like they're none of them are. I mean, Thielen's there, but
you put Gonzo on Tet, you put Carlton Davis. Like Leggett is like Carlton Davis's ideal matchup. He's not very smooth in terms of change of direction. Neither is Carlton Davis. You put those two, like maybe Marcus Jones and Adam Thielen's a battle, but like hopefully that should not decide the game.
Yeah, you're right. I think they do. I think they do win this one. I think they start at 3-1.
Also, that Patriots, their pass rush is what we think it should be. Bryce Young is not going to have a good day.
Do you see this smart formula suggestion that they're giving me? I'm just going to give Taylor.
Thinks that they're going to go undefeated.
So now it's a Taylor. Someone screenshot that and just have Taylor's prediction 18-0. But no, Taylor, you do have 4-0 to start the year.
I do have 4-0.
Do they go 5-0? I'll give this one to you first. Do they go 5-0 and beat the Bills on Sunday Night Football?
It's tough because we can't go on the trends that we've had in the past where like with Bill coming off a bye week, honestly, in recent history, you could usually chalk it up to being a loss. We always talk about Bill like he was great after a bye week. That was true in the Super Bowl. I think in this past like 4 or 5 years, I don't think they won very often. But I don't know how Vrabel's been off of bye week, to be honest, but I just need to be realistic for a second here. And like, they have to get their comeuppance at some point, and there's no better time than the Bills. So just for the sake of like not being kind of an ass, like I have to give them an L here. I would have no justification for saying why they should beat the Bills that early in the season, where I think they're still going to be finding their identity. They may be riding high. You just hope that they go into this game and the conversation is, are they going to be able to keep their wits about them? This is their first test. The Mike Vrabel era coming off, not a bye, I'm sorry, but like in a primetime game and all that. Yeah. I just said all that about the bye week, and this is not a bye situation. It's just a night football game. But even primetime, it felt like some of those games, they just didn't play. I just don't remember the last time I enjoyed watching them in a primetime game. It actually might have been the Bills Monday Night Football win in 2019. That was probably the last like primetime Patriots game I thoroughly enjoyed watching. Can you think of one?
Well, no, because even the one that they won in Buffalo when Mac threw it 3 times was like an abysmal game to try and watch, because it's not even like it was a low-scoring game with good defense. It was just a low-scoring game because it was a blizzard. So like it wasn't fun football. They won like 13-3 or 10-3 or whatever it was. So yeah, I think it's a loss here too.
Sorry. Thank you, Superfan from Philly. That's awesome. I'm sorry, I meant to throw this one up. Are we expecting this offense to hum so quickly? Absolutely not. I think that this is going to be a run-first offense. I think Josh McDaniels, obviously he wants his quarterback to be in charge, but I think he also wants to be able to run at will when possible. So I think they're going to lean heavily on that. And with the backfield that they've now assembled and their improvement to the offensive line, I do think they'll be able to have success and be that team that wins in the old school way. Ideally with Drake May just having to make like 3 to 5, like high level Drake May plays a game because he's able to work within the structure of the offense and be on schedule. But I mean, Courtney, to your point, the defenses could be much better, but I also have a lot of confidence in the Patriots defense, considering they've got guys who know the system already. I think they'll be able to play enough man that it's not like they had to do a bunch of like really complicated stuff on the back end if they were more of a zone, and communication is still very important. I don't want to undermine it, but yeah, I don't think the offense is going to come out swinging. I just have a lot of confidence in the defense.
Yeah. All right. So we both have them losing at Buffalo. They stay on the road and go at the Saints, to a team with a new head coach in Kellen Moore and a mystery at quarterback with Derek Carr retiring. I think this one's exactly. So like I said, a mystery. And Tyler Shuck will probably be the starter. And I have no confidence in him to get the job done against the Patriots. So I'm going to give them another W here and say they start the season 4-2. Taylor, I assume that you also have them beating the Saints in New Orleans. He's eating a dub just like Jameis did in that Saints uniform.
Don't tell him I did.
Yeah.
No, fun fact, when I was at the Super Bowl, when I interviewed him, I was like waiting in line, and there was this one kid who was like, "Oh, can I please go before you?" When he was by himself, I'm like, "Yeah, man, go ahead." He like tries to make a joke about the crab legs, and Jameis shut him down so fast. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I get it's fine, make a joke by yourself. Why go up to this man when he's doing you a favor and clown him? And he made that kid look stupid, and I was very glad. I'm like, that's a dumbass thing to do, man.
Yeah, that's freaking weird.
Story.
But yeah. All right, so not much more on the Saints. Taylor has 5-1. I got 4-2. Now they go to Tennessee. Mike Vrabel homecoming. Cam Ward, rookie quarterback at the helm. Do you think that Tennessee upsets their former coach, or Mike Vrabel gets it done against the team that fired him 2 years ago?
I think Mike Vrabel gets it done. Again, this is just an offense that Cam Ward is obviously a big difference maker, but I also think that if the Patriots get pressure on him, he's going to give them some opportunities to take the ball away. Calvin Ridley's a very good receiver, and he was competitive last year. He actually did make a few big plays, but I'm not worried about him against Christian Gonzalez. I think he's still going to keep him under wraps. Then Tyler Lockett is still a good player, but like if you put Marcus Jones on him, I think he'd be fine. Even if, I don't know if they want to put Marcus Jones on the outside like that. And then Van Jefferson, like their receiving core doesn't scare me. Their offensive line is Dan Moore, Peter Skoronski, Lloyd Cushenberry, Kevin Zeitler, and J.C. Latham. Some unproven guys, young guys, and then older guys where I don't really know what they're going to be able to get out of them this year. And the run game is fine. Not really intimidating. Defensively, they've got a good defensive line. Sebastian Joseph Day, who gave the Patriots a ton of problems last year. T'Vondre Sweat, Alex Barr's favorite big boy. Jeffrey Simmons, they know a lot of these defensive linemen, like Arden Key is still there. But then the pieces around them aren't super great. Like you got Jarvis Brownlee, Xavier Woods, Amani Hooker. L'Jarius Sneed is a good player, obviously, but like I don't think their defense is all that great outside of really their defensive line and a couple other guys. So I see this being a win for the Patriots, especially given Terrell Williams and Mike Vrabel have so much familiarity with the guys on their roster, on the defense specifically. But at the end of the day, you still have to block them. So we'll see if they can do that and if this offensive line maybe starts to gel, hopefully by this point.
Yeah, I agree that they win. I do think that Cam Ward will eventually be a good player in this league, and he could be even as soon as this year. I think he's got a ton of tools, and I think Brian Callahan, while he wasn't great at head coach last year, there was a lot of shit around. I mean, the Will Levis experience clearly failed. And remember where he would throw a pick and Callahan would rip him a new one and Levis would be on the field like, oh no, like that whole thing was just a nightmare. And I think that Callahan got took a lot of the brunt on it, at least in year one. And I do think that with a smarter, more viable quarterback in Cam Ward that he can have success. I do agree with you though that, the Patriots have familiarity with that team. Vrabel has familiarity winning in that building. So I do think they get the job done. However, I do need to. Did Taylor forget we signed a second down? Go ahead.
No, I just think that Carlton Davis is a very bad matchup for Tyler Lockett because he's quick and he's fast. I like Carlton Davis with the bigger guys that he can get his hands on. I also don't think Carlton Davis is a lockdown corner. I think he's a bit overhyped, to be honest. I hope I'm proven wrong, but like for someone who likes to see the upside in picks, I could see that one going sour.
Interesting. All right. I do think this team needs to lose a little, though, in year one of the Vrabel era. The Cleveland Browns are a good football team.
Another reunion. So I'm sorry. Wait, that's 2 reunions in a row for Mike Vrabel.
Oh, that's right. He does play. He does welcome his Browns from last season to Foxborough. That's a good football team. It's just a nightmare at quarterback, and it has been forever. But Stefanski's won Coach of the Year once, I think twice. He's done a good job with quarterbacks not named Deshaun Watson. Joe Flacco's there again this season. Kenny Pickett's there as well. And they obviously, you're muted.
Sorry, I was asking Liz to turn the fan on.
Oh, you were you were talking, so I was making sure you weren't talking to me. But it's funny. I saw you mute yourself and say something. I was like, that doesn't seem right. But no, Cleveland again. I've said it 3 times now. But good football team, bad quarterback room, or a bad quarterback situation with Watson. But Stefanski's got the most out of just about everybody else to play there. Shout out Alex Van Pelt as well, Joe Flacco. So I'm going to give them a loss to Cleveland. I think Cleveland can come in here and beat this team. And they fall to 5-3. Taylor, your thoughts on Cleveland, the matchup, and if they can get themselves to 7-1 to start the season under Mike Vrabel?
I want to give them an L in this one, but I don't fear Flacco quite enough. And like if they had Travis Hunter, I might feel. And their defense is scary. Like they got Mike Garrett, they got Mason Graham. And those are 2 really good players to have next to each other. And they've got some stars on the defensive side of the ball. Or at least some playmaking type guys. I don't know. But
go with your gut.
Judy doesn't do anything for me. Like I put Gonzo on him. I think you'll be fine. And then David Njoku's probably, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you put Christian Gonzalez on Njoku in like obvious passing situations and put Carlton Davis or somebody like that. I don't love Carlton Davis on Jerry Judy either, to be honest. So We'll see. But yeah, I just don't think they really have the talent. And I think their offensive line is old, banged up. And they're kind of got guys that are miscast. I think it'd be very disappointing if they lost this game.
So you're giving them the dub.
Yeah, I am.
The 7-1 New England Patriots.
Oh God. It's just their schedule.
I know.
Like it's not my fault.
I know. I agree with you. Like, yes, I have them having
the Browns beating them. How do you see the Browns winning?
Because the Patriots are still a young-ish football team that, yes, it's at home, but like.
But what does that matter? Who on the Browns is beating you? That's the question.
Flacco, Judy, and Njoku.
Those 2, you have Christian Gonzalez. Like David Njoku would have to put the team on his back because no one else is doing it.
They also don't have. They don't have Chubb anymore. They have Judkins as their probably RB1, who's a rookie. So that doesn't necessarily scare me. Their defense, though, is really good. Like, their defense is really good. They have Garrett. They have the defensive line. Denzel Ward's a really good corner.
He is retired.
Okay, but Denzel Ward's filthy. And you don't have any wide receivers to match up against that defensive backfield.
Who in the defensive backfield? Denzel Ward's a good player. Greg Newsom's a good player. I think Greg Delpit is a big play waiting to happen if you can scale. Like, I think Josh McDaniels finds the weaknesses in this defense and picks them apart. You can attack their second level. Carson Schwarzenegger, as much as I love him, and I said, he is fun, but you can also get that kid completely turned around. I think that's what the biggest thing with me was. I was like, I don't want him to have to play as a rookie because smart coordinators are going to put that kid in the torture chamber. And I think if they run like outside zone and there's some misdirection, like it's not going to be a good day for him. I like Myles Garrett. I like Mason Graham. I like Greg Newsome. I like Denzel Ward. That's it, though. That's it. It really scares me.
The only person I like on the Patriots offense right now, though, is Drake May. And that's what scares me.
Okay. All right.
I'm going out for now.
I need to convince you.
We'll come back to it, but I do think they beat the Atlanta Falcons. I have no confidence in this Atlanta Falcons team. I'm sorry, though. The Falcons are similar to Cleveland, where they have good.
Tell me where the losses are. Tell me where the losses are.
So what did you say after you? Oh, learn to read. That's the thing. It's like I hold on, 6-3 for me. I find
it's not even just the players. It's like the Josh McDaniels effect on offense, and that is significant. Like, there's a certain level to which you just expect them to play. And obviously, he doesn't have Brady and all that. But, like, we've also seen what he did with Cam Newton and Mac Jones. And both times those were offenses were going and people were like, yeah, they're not great. They don't have a lot of talent. And offensive line does matter, but like that Cam Newton offensive line was bad. They had so many. I think like Isaiah Wynn kept getting hurt. I feel like they had to play like backup tackles throughout the year. So like that's really for me the difference maker. Like it's not Van Pelt where it's like the weapons are like fine, but you don't really know how they're going to deploy them. It's like no, Josh is going to put them in good positions. That's why I feel a lot more confident with a lot of these is wins.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like I look at 7-1, and I'm sure. Do you have them beating Atlanta first of all?
This is tough. I can see, and this is on the.
It's at home.
Let me look at the depth chart again.
And that's where, like, I look at 7-1, 8-1. I'm like, is this team really going to be 8-1? But you look at the schedule, like you said, in my mind, I'm like, it's crazy to think that this team is going to be 7-1. But when you look at the schedule, why can't they go 8-1?
It's like just like if they really stumble out of the gate. And that's like guessing because you would still think a Mike Vrabel team is going to be prepared, right?
Right.
Like even when Bill's teams were bad early on, it was mostly because they were tinkering with a lot of things. It's not like, oh my God, they suck. It's like you can kind of see that this probably isn't where they're going to end up. And then they start figuring it out. Like, again, there are still things that need to work in this offense, and that's why I don't love this. But it's like all these other teams have stuff to figure out too. And Miami's the only one that I would completely understand people saying, call me a homer or whatever. But I also think that's your best chance to beat Miami in Miami that you're going to get. And the other ones, it's like these are all teams where either they just aren't super talented or they are in flux just as much as you are with not as effective leadership or quarterback situations.
Yep. So what are you going? 8-1, 7-2. Sorry, I won't frame it as the full record. Do they beat the Falcons in Week 9 or do they lose?
I think it'd be disappointing if they lost this one as well. Because I don't think Michael Penix should. I think he makes a lot of big plays. I also think that if this is the defense we think it's going to be, they'll have plenty of turnover opportunities. Like, yeah, I think it's going to be a win. I don't think you should lose to the Falcons.
All right.
I think they're talented. I do. Like, okay, so Davon Yamada is really good. I like Jalen Walker, and I think James Pierce is a good player too, but he's probably going to be more rotational for them, you'd think.
Right.
Because Leonard Floyd's there, so they're probably, like Caden Ellis, Christian Ellis's brother is very good too. Mm-hmm. I want to pay him his dues. Like, they've got a lot of veterans, so I could see this being a competitive game, but it's more just Michael Penix Jr. I think he's got flashes. I also think a good defensive, and Terrell Williams is a new defensive coordinator. I think that's fair to add into the mix as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think that Penix is inconsistent enough that if Drake May doesn't throw the game away, I think you should have a really good shot.
He does have some good players around him as well. Drake London, Kyle Pitts is what he is, but Bijan Robinson as a running back as well. So, but I do think ultimately
this is going to be one of the closer games of this early part of the season, but I think they should win. Oh my
Definitely.
God, I hate
at Tampa Bay is a loss for me.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield stand. They're a good football team. They know how to win. They've won for years over quarterback changes, over head coaching changes. They still have Evans back. Chris Godwin will probably be back by this point next year. I'm going with an L. I think you are as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am. This is a good team. Okay. They've been tested. They have chemistry. They're very well coached. Like, this is the kind of team where if you played more of these earlier in the year, that you would not see all these W's. I just don't see a lot of teams where it's like they're, again, experienced, tested, proven quarterback, proven head coach, good supporting cast around them. Like, yeah, Tampa's going to be a very tough opponent to beat, and I don't think they will.
Patriots just dropped another schedule release video.
Because
an egg drop challenge. Josh Dobbs is included in it. Demario Douglas. We'll watch that later. I don't know why they did that. 2 schedule reveal. Hey, shout out to them. Okay, so Jets Thursday night, short week. Interesting. Justin Fields, Aaron Glenn at home. So they come home. I
can see this being a drag you in the mud. They always are, but I could see this being a gross, unappealing game that they could lose.
Yeah, definitely unappealing. You come off a loss. I do think you get the job done and win the game. Are you giving them a second loss in a row here to the New York Jets?
Let's see. I want to give them a win. Let me just double check.
It's Justin Fields, man. You should not be losing to Justin Fields.
That's my thing. I can't have them.
No, I can't either.
W.
Because
Okay.
a game plan where it's simplified and it's Justin Fields, where you already know that the pass games, I'm sorry, you should. They've got the speed now on defense where it's not like in years past where you're like, damn, I don't know if Bentley and Tavai are going to be the ones running with him. You're not quite as confident against guys like him as we saw the last time he came to Foxborough. But I want to give them another loss here, but just to not get the crap I know I'm going to get. But Justin Fields does not scare me at all.
Well, here's your spot for a loss because they're going to play at the Cincinnati Bengals with Burrow having his two weapons back. T and Jamar both get paid this offseason. I'm saying loss. The defense isn't great. They're fine. They played those games last year where it was like 42-38 wins and losses here and there. But I have a hard time thinking the offense will keep up with this Bengals offense, so I'm going with an L. Do you think they can upset the Bengals in Cincinnati?
This is honestly a matchup where I like the quarterback head coach matchup for the Patriots better than I do for the Bengals, which sounds crazy. Sure. I think Zach Taylor is like a Madden generated coach. And that's a lot of my ignorance. Like I'm not exactly following them, but like I just have every time I watch them play, I'm just like, God, this team is so.
What does this guy do besides call the offense? Like that's what I always
Nick Sirianni, but he's not brash. So I literally don't know what he does. I mean, but still, I think in the Super Bowl, I'm sure he's a very good coach. But I just think that Mike Vrabel's impact on his team is more significant. That said, like the Bengals on offense are loaded, so I'm giving them the dub in this one. Yeah, the Bengals.
All right. Yeah. All right. 7-5 and 9-3.
I think they could win that. I will say that. I don't think any of these games they should be getting like blown out or dog walked. Like the Bills, you could see it happening because they're just so high powered. But I think they should be in all these games.
Even that though. Is a 14 to 17 point loss a complete blowout? Not really. Like it's two scores.
It depends. If it's one of those games where it looks like 17, but you never felt like they had a chance.
That's true. No, that's fair. Getting dog walked versus a blowout.
Against the Ravens. I could see if they hit like a snag, I could see the Ravens being a game where they could get embarrassed. Because that's just like the Bills, at least a little bit. The Ravens are new, and I think that's going to give them a big edge as a team that like has been in the playoff race for years now and knows what it looks like. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But like, that's the one game I see where I'm like, it can get pretty bad. I can see that.
Well, like you said, it's coming up week 17. We're at week 13 right now. Patriots come home from Cincy, have the weekend off before taking on the Giants on Monday night. Brian Daboll comes to town with a combination of Jameis, Russell, Tommy DeVito, and Jackson Dart in the quarterback room. I wonder if it's Dart at this point. Whoever it is, Patriots win in my book. Not much more to say there. I have them going 8-5. Taylor has a dub as well. Taylor has the Patriots being a 10-win team in week 13. And now they have the bye.
No said.
Now they have the bye. And do they win the bye week or do they lose the bye? No, I'm just kidding.
I was wondering if you should go in that direction.
No. You get a bye
this late. Sorry, was this the same bye they had last week? Was it 14? Or was it 15?
I don't remember, honestly. I think it was late. I just don't remember when it was.
I should have spent time looking it up instead of making faces. Stupid.
That's okay.
Stupid 8:30. It was week 14, same bye week.
Oh wow. Okay. It's funny. We thought that this would be this could be the Drake May switch last year. And nope, that happened.
Could you imagine, dude? Oh my God. I don't think they would not have even had the choice. Now, remember last year we were talking about how like if it was best for Drake May, maybe they would wait that long. And people were saying, like, no, that's not how it works. We learned. Because that is not how it works. And if you have a quarterback in waiting who's that much better than the guy ahead of him, I had more hope for Jacoby, and I thought he'd at least be decent and keep them in games. But I didn't really see a situation where it was going to be that bad that it was just going to be like, oh, not even close to week 14. And it happened.
Exactly. All right. So bye week comes at a good time because then you got to welcome the Buffalo Bills to town. Look, I think the Patriots are going to be coming in second in the AFC East this year. However, I do think they go 0-2 against the Bills. The Bills, where they're at in the playoff race in the AFC at this point in the year, they're going to need wins. They're still a better football team than you. I think eventually you'll compete with this team with the Drake May, Mike Vrabel combo. Just not this year. I think they go 0-2 against the Bills. So that brings me to 8.
I don't. They've been so close with the Bills the past 2 years, despite being ass. Respectfully.
Yeah.
I think at home, off a bye week, I think these are the right circumstances where they could beat the Bills. Because again, bro, it's not like the Bills have been. Weirdly, when they were like decent is when the Bills were really just like walking them up and down the boulevard. But they've, I think, been able to keep it closer. So maybe this is one of those times where they actually split it.
All right. 11-3. At Baltimore. Loss. At Baltimore, can you convince me that they win? I know you said it's the dog walk. This is their dog
needs
walk.
to convince me that they're going to win that game. I genuinely. I mean, no, I'm not going to say I don't know how, because Mike Vrabel's a great coach.
Yeah.
Drake May, by this point, like you're hoping that he maybe hit some snags, but by this point is starting to hit like, oh, Drake May is that dude. And he's the kind of guy where when you go into a fight, like, especially if they beat the Bills, you're going into this game saying like, oh, Drake May, can keep this one close. That said, again, the Ravens are a team that you don't, excuse me, that's never happened to me before, I don't think, or at least not very often. I always think about that. Like, we talked about that. What if you sneeze on air?
If it was on television, yeah.
Right, yeah.
This is much different than being on TV. We can do whatever the hell we want on here. But if you're like in the middle of a segment on early edition, just chew.
That's my nightmare. Please. I think about it all the time. I think I'm gonna like psych myself into a sneeze. But anyway, what was I talking about? This is kind of like an out of conference team because the Ravens are good. So unless you play their division, you don't see them very often. And Lamar plus Derrick Henry, I don't care that Mike Vrabel coached Derrick Henry. Like, that dude's different. There's no preparing. There's no, like, you have no idea what Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are like until you play them. I think that combination, plus the fact the Ravens are so well coached, they are very mentally tough. And they're obviously always loaded with talent. That's just a bad combination for a team in the level of development that New England's at. So if they did, this would be the kind of game where you put yourself on the map, because it's not a divisional opponent. This is a powerhouse in the AFC that you don't face very often, that you don't have any business beating. But yeah, I don't see it happening. It'd be dope, but I don't think that happens.
Okay. So 11-4, 8-7 at the Jets. I don't care that it's on the road. I don't care that we thought that maybe it could be a slugfest on Thursday Night Football. The Patriots aren't losing to the Jets this year. I'm sorry. I got no confidence in that team. I thought I was high on them when Aaron Rodgers was there.
Again, it's way more fun when the Jets are respectable versus a game where you're just like, ugh.
So you're going with a dub here as well?
Yeah. The Jets are the games that make me, like, obviously extremely grateful for all the opportunities we get. The Jets games are the only times where I'm like, I'd be cool watching at home. It's just
all right.
enough.
So 9-7 for me heading into week 18. Vying for a playoff spot is what I have the Patriots doing right now. You welcome Miami, who I think will also be doing the same. Whether it's Tua, whether it's not, even if it's Tua coming up here in the cold. Mike McDaniel doesn't know how to coach in the cold. Tua doesn't know how to play in the cold. Mike Vrabel knows how to coach in the cold. He's had cold weather games here before. I have the Patriots going 10-7 and making the playoffs. They win 2 in a row to finish the year, sneak into the postseason for the first time in what feels like forever in Drake May's second year and Mike Vrabel's first year. Taylor, I ask you, do you have them also winning 2 games in a row? And do you have the Patriots going 13-4 in Mike Vrabel's first season as the Patriots head coach?
Like, they should not be. No team should be losing to the Dolphins in December. First,
I agree. I very much agree.
I can't give them a loss here. And while you were talking, and I was also listening, I just like, okay, so everyone in the comments saying I'm too optimistic, give me games they could lose or they should lose.
Mm-hmm.
I could, like, in games they should, not just that they can, because yeah, you can. I don't think there's a lot of games here that they should lose. You've got the head coach, you've got the quarterback, you've got the offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator obviously is still a big question mark, but Terrell Williams has worked in this defense for a long time. And this isn't like DeMarcus Covington. This is a guy who's been in the league for significantly longer. And also, like, even Dan Campbell talked about how Terrell Williams was part of their game planning. So still, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but that's really the biggest ball up in the air right now. The offensive line, of course, is in a similar position, but like Will Campbell should be a quality starter. And by that, I mean, like when he goes up against Pro Bowlers, yeah, he's probably going to have a tough time. But against guys who aren't necessarily household names, who like above average, but not great, I think he should be able to perform well or at least be highly competitive. And then left guard, another one where it's still up in the air. If it's Wes Schweitzer, hey, it's a veteran who's not going to take a lot of egregious losses. Not the worst thing in the world, but I do think if this is a team that can run the ball first, which they should be equipped to do, that is well coached, which we know that they are going to be because now we have guys who are in positions where they've done this before. Like the defense at the very worst is going to have a very effective defensive line. And we're talking about a line with Barmore, Milton Williams, Keon White, Harold Landry, who at the very least is a great run defender and a productive sack guy, and then Braden Swinson, who people are already projecting is going to have a role in this defense. So I just need to know where the losses are that should happen that I haven't pointed out. Because even looking back, like I could switch some of these around, but I would be forcing it. I don't believe they should be losing to the Steelers or the Panthers or the Saints and Tyler Shuck. If there was even a Derek Carr, actually not. That's a lie. I'm not going to lie. I was going to say maybe if Derek Carr was there, I would still probably pick the same. But I think this is a team with more talent than people maybe give them credit for. And they have an easy schedule. That's really the biggest thing. Yeah, I agree. And then Tampa.
People are so mad at me giving them a loss to the Browns.
Yeah, I don't think that makes sense either. But like I literally have them losing against all the good teams they play except for the Bills the first time. And I just have them. The Dolphins sweep I get is crazy, given the recent history. But again, they shouldn't lose in December. This is the best situation they've had playing the Dolphins in a very, very maybe since that 2019 game. And they played the Dolphins when? Was it week 3? Week 2?
It was week 3, I believe. 2 or 3. It was early. It was very early.
It was an early game. So I'm really frustrated with myself, I'll be honest.
Hey, that's how it goes. Like, honestly, going through it, even at 10-7. It's almost, again, I don't feel too optimistic with that record, but there's a lot of these, like the Browns game, like the week 2 against the Dolphins, like maybe Tampa's on the road. That's tough, but there's a couple flips in here where even look, if they say they do flip against Miami, right? And say I have them going 4-0, then you're at 4-0 riding high going into a Sunday night football game against Buffalo. They're going to be up and ready for that game, being 4-0, going against the division champs. Like, shit, maybe they win at Buffalo and start the season 5-0. Like that, there are games here that could flip, and I could be dead wrong as well. So there's optimism. There's reasons to be optimistic about this team. There really is.
I think so too. And like, if you want to say, yeah, maybe they beat one of the good teams, and I think the Dolphins are literally like the definition of good and not great. Yeah. But like the great teams, again, I just think they're going to get one over on the Bills at home off a bye week. Like do the Bills have a bye? Actually, let me see. That's pretty significant. Let me see if the Bills have a bye week as well. Because if so, I could see myself changing it. That's pretty huge. If they both have time to prepare, that could be tough.
I doubt they'd give them 2 weeks at the same time, right?
Let's see. Bye week. Where's the bye? Oh, theirs is in week 7. And in week 14, they're playing the Bengals, bro. They're coming off Texans, Steelers, Bengals. Are they on the road? No, they're against the Bengals. And then they go on the road to Foxborough. Yeah, man, I don't think that's like a super easy situation for them.
I agree. Like
that's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Where would you disagree?
They're telling me not to back down. Don't back down. Team reasonable. The only one I'm iffy on my own.
Sorry.
I'm looking through your. I mean, individual games, none of them are that jarring.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking the Patriots are going to start 4-0 and then 8-1 just doesn't sound right to me. Right. And maybe that sounds crazy, but like, maybe it sounds dumb to say it like that, where, well, if they're going to win those games, obviously they have to start 8-1, but it's like you also have to string together 2 4-game win streaks, and that takes a lot. That's hard to do in the NFL, no matter if it's the best team, whether it's the Chiefs or whether it's the New England Patriots in year 1 of Mike Vrabel. So like, I find it hard to believe that there won't be bumps in the road, even though they do have a good head coach, they do have a good OC, they do have a good quarterback. So going game by game like we did, I almost, even being 5-2 after the Tennessee game, it's like that's a really good spot to be in for a team that's coming off a 4-13 season.
And also think about the year that Vrabel won Coach of the Year, when like everybody got hurt and that team was not very good. They went 12-5. Another situation where I don't think they had a very good schedule. They literally went 12-5, and I don't think anybody would argue that Titans team was better than this Patriots team. They had Derrick Henry, obviously. Rather have Drake than Derrick Henry, though. So they went 12-5 with an inferior team and another bad division with a pretty easy schedule and just a very good head coach who consistently put them in better positions. And that's why, like, I think the only one that I would even disagree with myself in this one, if I really had to push, was them beating Miami at home. But even then, the 12-5 sounds crazy. And even, I feel like even 3-1 after a month seems kind of wild, Patriots. But that's how the schedule played out.
That's how the schedule fell, and that's why schedule day is so fun. So, wow, we're at 1:10. This is the longest Patriots Daily we've done. Well, I guess we had draft day, so that's different. But so yeah, Taylor's got them 13-4. I got them 10-7. This would likely put them in the playoffs either way. Only 3 games we disagree on. Buffalo, Cleveland, Miami.
I was going to look up Mike Vrabel's history against the Dolphins. Mike Vrabel's Titans were 3-1 against the Dolphins.
Okay.
How many of those were on the road? Let's see. That's not helpful.
Taylor, over under 23.5 points per game offensively, asks Courtney.
Oh, God. I'll go under.
I'll go 23 exact, just to be an ass.
I'll go under. I still got to see more. Again, I think there's going to be a defense and run game led team with a quarterback that can like make the plays when he needs to, ideally.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our schedule prediction. I got 10-7. Taylor's got 13-4. We'll tweet this out. I'll tweet this out and give the Twitter people some great bait to munch on in the second half of this Celtics game. Hey, Taylor, stand on.
Yeah, sneak it in. No, sneak it in when the game is at its peak.
Yes, perfect. Good call. So that's it. That's going to do it for our schedule release show. Our second annual schedule release party here on Patriots Daily. We'll be back later on in the week. We got a couple more interviews to drop. We'll have a Friday show as well. So make sure you keep it here on Press Pass, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. A reminder, we are powered by the CLNS Media Network. And I will give a shout out to the Garden Report as well and all the great work they've done over on the Celtics coverage here on CLNS. Bobby Manning, Noah Dalzell, Jimmy, John, and Sherrod are always up and at it on the Garden Report. Win or lose, Tatum Achilles injury or not, they're there giving you coverage. So check out Celtics CLNS coverage as well. They'll have some post-game coverage after tonight's Knicks versus Celtics game, which, Celtics 78-68 right now in the third. Looks like they may force a game 6 and head back to New York. So even without Tatum, Celtics look like they're staying alive. So once you're off of here, go reset. Mike just wanted the Browns bait. Yeah, kind of, but I have a thing for Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a good coach, and I think he got screwed with Jimmy Haslam and what he did with Deshaun Watson. But that's a topic for another time. We got to get out of here. Go watch the Garden Report. Go check it out on Celtics CLNS as well. Until next time, we'll be back. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. That was the first time last year I used this call sign. I saw the end. I was like, did I say it in my first hosting? I was confused. I didn't know how to say it. I stole it from Taylor, but that is our thing now. So take care of yourselves. Take care of Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you next time here. Peace out, everybody.
Pray for